Emily, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. I mean, just about 4 weeks out. How are you feeling?
I feel really good, excited to be back, just praying to stay healthy.
All right, so, I mean, it's been a crazy year for you. You were supposed to return to Invicta, supposed to fight in Fury. What the hell's been going on?
I've had like the worst luck since my last fight. So after my last fight, I got really sick. I got COVID, and then I got back to training after COVID, and then I got a fight with Invicta, and then I hurt my knee, and so it was getting close to the fight. My knee still wasn't better, so then we decided to pause that. And then the girl I was fighting, she got sick too, I think, so she pulled out too, so the fight just kind of fell apart anyways. And then I was healed up and then had a fight with Fury. And then 3 weeks before that fight, I broke my foot sparring. I kicked an elbow, and I didn't even know it was broken all weekend. I was like riding the bike, like thinking I was gonna be like good to go, and then I got x-rayed that next Monday, and my bone was broken in half in surgery like a week and a half later. And so here I am on the backside of all of that. So getting close to the fight, so I'm excited to finally get back.
All right, so a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
How the fuck did you walk around on a broken foot and not know it was broken?
That I do not know. I didn't know I broke my foot. It hurt really bad, and I knew it like something was wrong, but it didn't really swell up very much, and so everyone kept saying that if it was broken, it would have been like way more swollen. And I guess I'm just not a sweller. I don't know. It just didn't really swell up, and I was actually at the PI getting ready to try and hit mitts, and I saw Heather, and I was like, I'll just ask Heather what she thinks. And then she like took one look at my foot and was like, you're going to get an x-ray right now. Like there was like a clicking, and she's like, it's not supposed to click like that, and that was the bone.
God damn.
I know.
Yeah, that's insane. And then your knee injury. What was your knee injury?
So I was sparring with Marab, and he did an M&R roll, and then like I windshield wipered my leg like a weird way, and like it just kind of I actually got an MRI on that same knee before or after my last fight, because everything was kind of feeling just like a little loose, but they said everything was fine. And then I think that pressure just like extended some ligaments too much, and so I just like I think like sprained it, you know, so just was doing like a lot of knee tightening exercises and stuff like that. So I think it was like a month, and I started feeling like, you know, good enough to ease back into training.
So you're all healthy now.
All healthy.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Yes.
I'll find some wood. I did want to talk about your last fight. So you were winning that fight.
I know.
You were winning that fight big time, and then you got caught. What'd you learn from that fight?
You know, I was just that last, like, even my last few fights in the UFC, you know, like I feel like I'm doing really good, and then you just see it kind of fall apart, and like I was just dealing with so much outside of the fight game, you know, and competing at the highest level, and then pretty much having your contract on the line like almost every time you're fighting. So it's just like a combination of like all of this pressure outside of, you know, fighting that I was dealing with in my personal life, on top of like all of the pressure of like trying to stay in the UFC, and then feeling like I belong there. And like it just it was easy for me to get into my own head, and like just like kind of really nasty to myself, you know, and not trying to be, you know, but I just kind of got lost like in this like cycle of like unhealthy like mindset, I guess you can say. And I just like dealt with a lot of like imposter syndrome, and like I, you know, go with people in the UFC that are top level, and I give them like their hardest rounds, you know, and so it didn't really make sense for me to like feel that way, but like there was just this like disconnect from like who I was to who I have become, you know, and it just took me a long time to like realize like I'm not that scared little girl growing up, you know, like I've become like a really strong, like athletic, like woman, and I just like I don't know, I just didn't like have that like I don't know, and I was winning, and I always like was winning the fight, and I always felt like I was losing or not doing a good job, and like I don't know, so I think everyone always likes to, you know, say I suck at jiu-jitsu and that I should learn how to defend an arm bar, and it's like that's where I shine the most in the gym, you know, like that's where I do my best work. And so for me, it's like if you've trained with me, you know it's a disconnect like mentally to physically for me, you know. And I think the last 2 years, I think it's like right now my 2-year anniversary at Syndicate, and I think I've grown up a lot as a person. I've really like cleaned up my personal life, and I have like really good people around me now, where before I felt like I had a lot of negativity around and like nobody was like building me up. And now I'm at a gym where I feel like I'm being built up, and like I have a great manager, Danny Rube, who believes in me. And like when you just have this like group of people around that like reassures you and believes in you, it's like really good positive reinforcement. And I think that was like what I was missing as an athlete. Like you could see the skill, but then I was missing this, you know, support system. And it's like there's a reason why all the best guys, you know, at the top have this 20 people standing behind them. It's because it takes a really like strong support system to get to a top level and compete in the UFC, and like you can't do it alone. And I was doing it alone for my whole career, you know. So it sucks that I found that after I'm not in the UFC anymore. But I hope to get back to a big promotion, you know. I'm still like really happy with what I've accomplished, and I fought out my contract, you know. I just didn't get re-signed, and so I feel like, you know, appreciative of that. And I set a record, you know what I mean? Like I was on the Ultimate Fighter. Like I'm still really happy. Like I feel like I did show a little bit of what I can do, but that's why I'm not done, is because I feel like I have a lot more to show, and I really want people to see like the true athlete that I am in the gym.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, it was a lot.
No, it's good. So I did want to talk, when you didn't get re-signed, what were the emotions like?
You know, I had so much pressure going into that fight, knowing that was the outcome of it. When it happened, it was just kind of like, here I am, you know? And I think it was like kind of, my life hasn't changed, you know? Like, I still go into the PI, like I don't get free PT anymore, so that sucks. But you know, I'm still like training every day. Like I didn't even go in there all that much, you know what I mean? I haven't had a fight outside the UFC yet, so can't touch on like how that's gonna feel. I can imagine it's gonna be a lot less stressful. I don't know. I mean, I was sad, of course, and I, you know, wanted to prove, you know, my haters wrong and all of that. But I'm all about a comeback story, you know. Like just because it ended there doesn't mean it's, you know, ended forever. So I just, you know, tried to pull myself together and get back on the horse.
Awesome, yeah. So Fury FC, how did this all come about?
So actually Mick introduced me to the Fury guys at one of the UFC events, and so they wanted to get me on, and so finally it's happening. So yeah, I'm excited to fight for them. I'm excited to, you know, get to Texas and see what it's all about. The show looks really nice, so I think it's awesome. It's on Fight Pass, so I feel like I'm not fighting too far away from like my UFC home, and so yeah, I think it's going to be a good one.
Fighting Celine, you were matched up with her in March. Now
Yeah.
you're fighting her again. What do you think of her as an opponent?
So I've actually trained with her, which is kind of weird.
Okay.
Yeah, so I trained with her a long time ago in Albuquerque, and then I trained with her again a couple years ago. So I've trained with her twice. I just, you know, short session, nothing crazy or whatever. I know she's trained with a lot of like good girls and has been around the fight game for a long time. And I just remember like the first time we trained together, I was like 23. Like I was still like a young girl, you know. And I think she was probably like 30 then, you know, and we had an exciting round. And then I felt like the last time I trained with her, I felt like I'm a woman now. Like I felt like my strength and like my athleticism, like I could tell that I had grown up. And like, you know, she was like similar, you know, she didn't grow a lot after that point, you know, but I know she's tricky on the ground. I know she comes to fight. I know she has a ton of fights, so she has a lot of experience. So I'm definitely not like passing her over as an opponent. So yeah, I'm excited to fight her. She's a vet of the game, and we've both been around for a while, so why not?
Do you think it's kind of like a good first opponent outside of the UFC to kind of build you back up and just your first fight outside the UFC?
Yeah, I think it's a good matchup. I think it's also like good for me to fight somebody that is better on the ground, just so I can prove that I don't have a fault there, you know. It's a winnable fight for me, so I just have to go out there and just like, you know, perform and stay in the fight.
at the end of the day, how do you get your hand raised?
I plan on keeping it standing and using my jab and my footwork and taking the fight kind of wherever it goes, not getting complacent on the ground, and yeah, just making sure I'm, present every step of the way.
Awesome. What do you want the rest of the year to look like?
I want to get busy, so I definitely would like to fight again like shortly after. So yeah, see what happens after this fight. Hopefully get something pretty quick after, and just try and stay active and healthy. And yeah.
And this fight is on UFC Fight Pass, and you said it's not, it's not far from the UFC. So you go out there, put on a good show. I mean, it could just be one and done, and you're back in the UFC, or you're back with another big promotion, right?
Yeah. I think I would probably want to get like a couple more wins, just so my record's not as like stressful,
Right.
So I want to fix that a little bit with good wins and good experience and stuff. So there's girls that get signed all the time that are 32, 33, and I just turned 31, so I'm just getting into my prime, and I know that I still have, a good amount of fights left in me, and yeah, I just really hope the best, and trying to be positive with whether it's with the UFC or someone else. I just want to get paid.
No, absolutely, yeah. It kind of feels like you're kind of taking it one day at a time and just kind of putting one foot in front of the other, and just kind of see where your path goes, right?
Yeah. I mean, I never would have guessed I would have ended up at Syndicate, so I can't really try and plan my future out too much, So I have a goal of where I want to end up, and whatever path I have to take to get there, I'm okay with it.
And we are at Syndicate. How did you end up at Syndicate?
So I knew that I didn't want to be at Extreme Couture anymore. After Misha, she moved to Singapore, and the women's team kind of all fizzled out, and so there was no girls there for a little while, and I just wanted to train with other girls, and so I actually tried to go out to Colorado, and I just didn't like the idea of moving that far from the Pacific Northwest, and so and it was just when I got back to Vegas after that trip, something just told me to stay in Vegas, and I did already have a little bit of a rapport with John Wood and Syndicate, because Roxanne was on The Ultimate Fighter with me, and Nico was training here too at the time, and so I already had some friends here, and then I jumped into a few of their practices when they were training at the PI for a little bit, so I knew them a little bit, but nothing crazy. And then when I got back into town, John reached out to me and was like, hey, stop by the gym if you want. And I had gotten offered to fight Juliana again for the rematch from all of that, and so I was 8 weeks out from a fight. I got back from Colorado, and I was like, well, it doesn't make sense to move to Colorado when I'm 8 weeks out from a fight. By the time I get there, I'll be 5 weeks. It just didn't make sense, so I just kind of was like, well, I have to make Las Vegas work, and I love Las Vegas. It's my home. I just wasn't ready to move away from here yet. And yeah, Syndicate was very welcoming, and it worked out really good, and I can't believe it's been 2 years, but I'm really happy with the move.
That's awesome. Do you feel part of the family?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, so everyone's super cool here now. Cynthia is training here, and so I have another good friend that's here now, and yeah, I feel like what we have going on here as a team is really awesome. It's a big gym, but it still has a small gym vibe, and I think we're doing good work. I feel like I've grown so much as a fighter here, with my stand-up and the way I see things, and it's all because of Syndicate.
Awesome. Emily, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, of course.
You want to plug your social media, plug any sponsors you got? You want to thank anybody? The floor is yours.
Oh, I hate this part. You can find my Instagram at Whitmire115. I think my Twitter handle is the same, but I don't really use Twitter that much. Shout out to Green Life. I always, support them. They've always supported me, and they're just a super awesome company. So if you're in Las Vegas, smoke their weed. And yeah, I want to thank Syndicate and everyone here, and yeah, that's it.